WAOH is brought to you in part by Ohio's #1 trusted real estate team, The Young Team. Online at theyoungteam.com.
Today I get to talk with Kenny Haynes and Travis Bornstein. Travis is the founder of Tyler's Redemption Place, and Kenny is the veteran peer supporter. How are you guys today?
Good. Great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad you guys are here with me today on Good Morning Akron. And I want to start off with you. I want you to just tell us about Tyler's Redemption Place and what led you to founding it.
Yeah, so we lost our son Tyler to a heroin fentanyl overdose in 2014.
I'm so sorry.
And so Tyler had broke his right arm 4 times, had 2 surgeries on his right elbow. First at age 11, second one was age 18, and got addicted to the opiate prescription pain pills.
Wow.
And so that led him to heroin. So through that, we formed our nonprofit, which is Hope United. And then in 2023, we opened up Tyler's Redemption Place, which is an RCO, Recovery Community Organization. It's the first RCO in Summit County. And then Recovery Community Organization is, or the RCO is Recovery Community Organization. So through that, we do drop-in peer support. We do veteran peer support that Kenny's came on staff to help with us. I served in the Marine Corps. Kenny served in the Marine Corps. And so we both have a real desire to help vets. But more than that, just kind of help and change our community. And so when we talk about recovery, we talk about everything we do at Tyler's Place is based on mind, body, spirit, community.
Okay.
So when you want to help somebody transform their lives, you got to work on all of those types.
Right. You can't just do one thing or two things. You got to really
so
hit
everything we do through Tyler's Place is geared through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to just shift over to you, Kenny, because you are the veteran peer support, and I know you were just mentioning that. Let's share what you're doing specifically for veterans right now.
Absolutely. So I go to Valor Court on Mondays with the veterans here in Summit County. So I work with different veterans who it's kind of like how they have drug court. This is Valor Court specifically for veterans. So they'll check in with me each week, sometimes daily, sometimes once a week, whatever the judge wants them to do.
Sure.
But it's just, it's an amazing program to give them a better option than just here, lock you up, throw away the key, and then get out and there's no hope. It's a really incredible program.
Yeah. My first guest today, she was just sharing with me how important it is to understand someone's background. She specifically has studied the Black community and how important it is for us to go in culturally understanding, young Black men before we give them, mental health services, right? And I feel like it's the same thing. You understand veterans, and then you're able to, reach out in a way that is going to actually help them versus just giving everyone the same treatment, because not everyone needs the same treatment, right? Yep. So that's really beautiful. Can you share a little bit more about the program, specifically what they would go through?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a VR, like headsets specifically for veterans. It's a 17-week, so most of them come in once a week and do a session, and it's kind of like having counseling anywhere in the world. It's amazing. So I'm sitting there. I could be in France one day. I could be by a lake. I could be in the mountains. But you're talking to the guy who founded it.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'll debrief afterwards with them. So it's a different topic each week, and I'll sit down with them and debrief and kind of process what they just went through and what they learned during that session.
Okay.
So that's one of the awesome things that we do. We have a veterans only meeting every Friday evening. I'll be starting a veterans only group next Wednesday, the 23rd. So we'll meet every Wednesday. It's an 8-week group, and I'll discuss different topics each week. And I'll cover everything from childhood trauma to anger management to breaking negative thought patterns, just a wide variety of things.
Yeah, it just sounds like all really important things. And then again, but they have, these are all people of the same background of being a veteran, and they can relate on that. And so that's so important to bring
one of the things
together.
That's unique about veterans is sometimes they only want to talk to veterans.
Right.
And they certainly want to know you have like same life experiences. Right. And then getting veterans, it's hard for men in general to say, I need help.
Exactly.
Right. And then you throw the veteran piece on it, it's even a little bit harder.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we always talk about strength is really being able to share. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, it's been awesome. Just the opportunities we're getting to kind of, help transform our community and make a difference. It's a very unique place. It's a 7,500 square foot log cabin.
Okay.
And we're just right on the outskirt of Springfield High School. And we have 10 acres. And so, we're 10 miles from Akron. And so you feel like you're in the woods a little bit, which is, people really enjoy.
Which is really nice, to be able to have that element of nature.
And then
well.
a couple other things we do is we have family support.
That's what I was just going to ask. Look at that. You were leading in my next question. What are some other things that you do? Family support?
So we have family support and grief support.
Okay.
So that was one of the first things that my wife started was grief support for families that's lost a child or a loved one. And so she's worked with hundreds of families across Summit County, Stark County, and Portage County. And then we have, like I said, family support for those who maybe have somebody in recovery or active addiction. Mm-hmm. And so that's a unique piece too, because sometimes families are left behind.
100%.
Right? And then
so important.
And get the families to, reconcile and reconnect and just work through some of that.
Right. Or even understand what their loved one is going through. I know, I have someone in my life who has been going through some addiction issues and struggles. I'm sure that most people watching, to be honest, know someone in their life. And so I think one of the biggest things that we can do is just try to educate, and I think educating these families.
Yeah, so part of that education process is we got to understand it as a health crisis. Yeah. Right? It's not a choice. I'm not saying there's not choices involved in it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's a health crisis. Mm-hmm. And there's all type of scientific evidence that supports that.
Right.
Right? And for us to really understand the problem as a society, that's where we need to start.
Exactly.
Because, if we go to the choice piece, then we kind of go, you knucklehead, stop. Right? And we don't understand it. Like you said, we don't understand it. And for us to really solve it, that, we have to understand it the way it is as a health crisis or a disease. And then that way we'll respond with love and compassion.
Exactly.
And until we get to love and compassion, we're not going to solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, really anything that we are doing, we need to educate ourselves before we talk about it like we know all, right? Yeah. Especially in this world, right?
Yeah.
Our current social media driven world, it's like,
for sure.
Okay, before you speak into something, educate yourself. And it's the same for this topic. It's, we need to educate ourselves on what people are going through before we speak into it. And so I think that's great that you do that. So helping families, helping people that have lost a loved one. I love that. Anything else that your organization does that you want to share?
So, I mean, everything we do is free.
Okay.
So we don't charge for services, right? So if someone's struggling, they can drop in, with a loved one or by themselves. And we have a couple other peer support on staff too that will help them. If you need food, if you need housing, any type of those type of assistance, we can get you running in the right direction.
And is this all outpatient services?
Yes. Nobody stays there. Nobody lives there.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have resources for people that need that kind of thing. If someone did need that, could reach out to.
Yeah.
That's really important. How can people find you guys? How can they find out more about you?
Yeah, so we're on all the social media networks, Hope United or Tyler's Redemption Place. That's probably the best place to start. We have a website called hopeunited.life. So, it kind of gets a little confusing. Tyler's Redemption Place, Hope United. Right. So Hope United is the name of our nonprofit.
It's the nonprofit. That's like the umbrella over. Right.
And Tyler's Redemption Place is the name of the RCO.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so we got to do a better job of, explaining that.
No, that's great. And we'll put that information below so that people can find you guys.
Right.
Kenny, let's go back to you just for a minute. Why do you care about this work? Why is this work important to you? Let's just go there.
Yeah, you're trying to get me emotional.
I'm not trying to get you emotional. I know that it is important to you. I want you to be able to share.
Absolutely, it is. No, I appreciate the question. So I am actually in recovery as well. Okay. Right? So I relate on that level for 10 years. August 1st was my 10-year mark. So I know a lot of it too stems from childhood, and there's a lot of variety, a lot of factors that play into this. And it's just a different dynamic when I sit down in front of someone and I've walked in their shoes.
Yeah.
You know, it just hits different. So I try to meet people where they're at, and I try to just be there. Sometimes it's just an ear, sometimes it's to give advice.
Yeah.
But being in recovery myself, losing my sister, losing numerous friends from the military,
Wow.
I've dedicated my life to it, and I probably shouldn't be here, to be honest with you, but I told God, like, I will spend every waking day of my life, whether it's a day or 40 more years, trying to serve others, and that's all that matters.
That's amazing. And it's important work that you guys are doing, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you share, I want you to imagine the person watching who maybe has someone in their life struggling right now. Can you give them some motivation, some words of inspiration of how to take the first step towards getting help for that person, or even someone watching who needs help themselves?
Yeah, I think the first thing is we got to understand it. Like, you know, as a parent, it's not something you did.
Right.
Like, so I can't cause my kid to have cancer.
Right.
I can't cause my kid to have diabetes. Right. So I think, you know, for parents, they struggle. Well, I should have did this, or I should have did that, or maybe I was too tough
Blaming
here,
themselves.
or whatever. Yeah. And you know, it's just not true. It's just not true. So listen, there's 24 million people in recovery in the United States. So recovery is possible.
It is.
Right. So, you know, in the grips of addiction, sometimes there feels like there's no hope. Right. But there is.
Yeah.
And, getting over that stigma piece and getting connected with a facility like Tyler's Place, I mean, we're going to love you right where you're at.
That's great.
Right? It doesn't matter how you show up. We don't care if you show up with one shoe on, one shoe off.
You know what?
We're going to meet you right where we're at. We're going to meet you right where we're at. We're going to love you and encourage you and help get a team around you to get you moving towards long-term recovery.
That's great.
You know, so I think that's the thing that people need to understand, that people do recover.
Yeah.
People do recover.
And there is hope.
And Kenny's a great example of it. And we have a lot of great examples with people that we're working with and volunteer and give back.
Well, thank you for investing
Yeah.
in the community and for using your pain
Yeah.
for good. And same for you, for using your pain for good. And that's all we can do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I always kind of say it like this. I don't believe God lets us go through tragedy or disappointment in a way to torture us. I think he lets us go through this to shape us, to mold us, to change us, so we can use our pain to help someone else.
Yeah.
Right. And
So
if we,
true.
you know, and we got to walk into that. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's not easy to do. But
You got to accept it.
yeah, if you
too.
if you can walk into it, you never know what God might do.
That's true.
You never know.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the opportunity to be.
Travis, Kenny.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I almost called you Tyler
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he said
That's
the
okay.
second.
It happens.
I had to think about it.
Yeah.
But honoring your son too
Yeah,
there.
thank
for
you.
sure.
Yep.
Thank you guys. We will put all the information up so people can find you and follow you guys on social media and be able to connect with you if they need to connect with you guys.
Awesome.
So,
Perfect.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
so much.
yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching. We had a great morning here on Good Morning Akron. Make sure you stay tuned. We've got more great stuff coming up next.